Good morning, Stampers. I'm sorry. Rookie mistake this morning, and hang on, let me show you my face. Rookie mistake. I didn't turn my microphone on. So I started our live video and you could hear nothing. Good morning. I am Joanne from the Rock, Paper, Scissors studio, and we're here for our May stamp class, which is catalog kickoff time. We have our brand new Stampin' Up catalog. Stampin' Up has changed their catalog release. This year we have a smaller catalog that's not an annual catalog. We used to have a catalog that was good all year. This is good till August, and then we have our two mini catalogs that we've always had. We're continuing with those and just making like a third mini catalog to cover the full year. I'm gonna switch this onto my desk so I can show you the new catalog. This released, it was active yesterday. I'm so excited about it. Lots of fun product in here. And it's good, like I said, until August. So in September, our holiday catalog will go live, and it will be good until December. And then in January, we release our spring catalog, which will be good until April. That part hasn't changed, but instead of having a larger annual catalog, we're going to have this May to August catalog. So I am pretty happy about that. And this one is filled with good things, some new products, and new tools, lots of new papers. Oh, it's so pretty. This is one of my favorites. This paper, look at those colors. It's just gorgeous. We're working with this paper today. And new stamp sets. Look at those colors. We also have new in colors. And this is some of our new in colors displayed on this page. Every year Stampin' Up releases 5 new colors, and they're good for 2 years. So we just retired 5 in colors, and then we have our returning in colors from last year. So Secret Sea is safe. That's my favorite color currently. And then we got 5 new colors, and they are gorgeous, and I want to show them to you first thing today. We're going to use them in all of our projects, but the in colors are one of the most exciting things about a new catalog. So lots of inspiration in here. If you weren't at class last night and you didn't get a new catalog, then you can reach out to me, Joanne at the rockpaperscissorsstudio.com, and I will get a new catalog in the mail to you. So excited about that. Okay, now I want to introduce you to our new in colors and our new ink pads. Stampin' Up announced a few weeks ago that they're changing their ink pad style. This is a preview for what's to come, because next year, we'll have these ink pads will be this style for all of our colors, but we get to play with it this year. I'm going to introduce the first one, my favorite one first. This is called Hydrangea Hue, and it's a gorgeous bluish purple color. Then we have Peaceful Pine, which is a really pretty green. I'm sorry that glare is just right on there. And then we have Crisp Cantaloupe, which is a returning color. We've had that before. Barely Blush. And last but not least, it's not going to fit on here, we have Honey Glow. So you can see how pretty those are together. And I have a card, actually, I want to share with you. Now, I did not make this card. I got this card from a fellow demonstrator, and she created it for a swap, but it uses all of these colors. So I thought I would share it today. This is the Crisp Cantaloupe, and there's that beautiful Hydrangea Hue. It's so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm so excited about these new colors. Now, another new product that we are getting in these new colors is the shimmer brushes, which if you participated in the virtual album retreat, the scrapbooking retreat, then you got one of these new shimmer brushes, which I did, and I got this one in Golden Glow. That's what was used in the virtual album retreat. So I have played with it a little bit, love it. I also went to an event where we got to play with all of the colors. I don't own all of the colors. They just went live yesterday, active, where we could order them. But on camera, you're not going to be able to see the shimmer like you can in person. They're really pretty. And you know, this was a large event and there were lots of people, so these two were kind of dried out before I got to this display. But they're just gorgeous. It's really pretty, really pretty. Love the shimmer brush. I'll show you what I did. I did something maybe unorthodox with our shimmer brush during class today. One other new product, while we're talking about like shimmer brushes and stuff like that, Stampin' Up! In this catalog has released a white gel pen. Now, I'm a pretty picky gel pen person, and I, for a long time, have used the same brand of white gel pen. Stampin' Up! Used to sell, years ago, a very good white gel pen. And they haven't had one in many years, but I kept using that brand because I could buy it at other places, and it was a really good one. But now we have our own, and let me tell you, I think this is the one I've been using. It's a really good white gel pen. Like I said, I'm pretty picky, so I'm just going to show you how this gel pen writes, because it is fabulous. We used this in our retreat also, and you know, we did a lot of dots with it. We did some stitching with it. It's just a really, really, really good gel pen. Love it, love it. You get 2 of them in a pack, which is nice, and it's a really good pen. Okay. So enough about that. Let's get to our cards that we're going to make, because we're using new product on every card, and so I'll get to introduce some of the things to you as we go along. Okay, let me find my sample. Well, we're just going to jump in with Hydrangea Hue, which, you know, I told you that was my favorite. And so this is our card today. We're using a new stamp set and a new punch that's sold as a bundle. We're also using new paper, and we'll be using this paper on another card. We're using these pretty little in color dots. They're gorgeous, and you really can't tell on camera how shiny they are, but they're so pretty. So we're adding that detail to it. Now, some returning favorites that we're using this Sunflower 3D embossing folder, and you know, some white and crumb cake paper. But I have not made in a long time. I did this for a challenge, actually, this card, because we were asked to make a card that we hadn't made in a while. That was the challenge. And I have not made a card with a belly band in I don't know how long. So this card has what we call a belly band on it, and that's just this band that goes around it to close it. And it's a gatefold card, so it opens like that. Isn't that pretty? We're going to make that together today. So let me show you how I did that. Okay, so this is my card kit that my customers all got. Make sure I get everything out of there. And the first thing we're going to do is emboss our Hydrangea Hue paper, because we need to rub that with some white ink, and I want that to have a little time to dry before we work with it. So we're going to do that piece first. Let me grab our embossing folder and my machine. Oh, and then I'm just going to grab my coffee that I heated up, because otherwise you're going to hear that beeping continue. Sorry about that. I forgot that I stuck my coffee in there to heat it up. Okay, now I have trouble with my camera, and so you're going to see very little of this, but I'm going to describe to you what I'm doing. Okay, I am going to put my paper inside my embossing folder like this, and then I'm going to send it through the machine. Okay, and you always send it through with the hinged side going first. Hang on, I need my base plate. Actually, I forgot my base plate at class last night too, and one of my fellow stampers' husbands saved me because they went to their house and got there. Well, he was at home and he came and brought it. Okay, so we're just going to run this through the machine. I got to move it because I don't have room. I don't usually use this machine up on the desk. I'm going to get it out of the way. Okay, now the magic of our 3D embossing folder. And this is just such a gorgeous embossing folder anyway. It makes those beautiful flowers on our paper. So what we did was we took the white ink pad and a blending brush, and we brushed some white ink on this. I'll show you the difference. Like, this is the one that's been brushed with white ink. There's just some highlights on it, and this is just the paper. Okay. So I'm gonna put some white ink on here. I don't have scrap paper. Hang on, let me just grab a Post-it note. I don't ever want to do it full strength because I don't want to get a big blob, so I just tap off a little bit. You can't see that. I tap off a little bit on my Post-it note so that I'm not getting too much in one big blob. On my paper. Now, I will say the camera doesn't photograph this as well because it looks sort of blobby on camera, and if you just looked at it, it really doesn't look like I have. It's very smooth and spread out looking in person. So pretty. That's such a pretty color. Okay, now we're going to let that dry for a minute. I'm going to talk to you about the card base. Our card base is cut. It's a regular card base size, 5.5 by 8.5. But to get the center, you know, the gatefold, we have to score it differently. We can't just fold it in half. And so what you're going to do, I'm just looking at my measurements to double check. Yes. You're going to score it at 2 1/8 from both edges. Okay, so if you have it on your score tool, it's 2 1/8 and then 6 3/8. That's where you score. I'll write that down for you. Okay, this is for the gatefold. My paper is 5.5 by 8.5, And on the long side, I have scored it at 2 1/8 inches and 6 3/8 inches. Okay, so then I scored them all for my people last night. Then you're just gonna fold on those score lines, and that meets in the middle to open up like this. Now while we have this open, I'm not going to make this right now. I'm not gonna glue this inside, but that's what our inside looks like. Of course you could decorate that if you wanted, but we're going to focus on decorating the front. So I have these two white pieces. Now this was a regular, I'll show you. This was a regular first layer size, this white piece. It was 4 by 5 1/4, and I just cut that in half. So I have 2 by 5 1/4 and 2 by 5 1/4. And the goal of this gatefold card was to not show that center seam. Okay, sometimes we make gatefold cards and we have our pieces spread out where there's a border all the way around. I didn't want a border in the center, so it's glued on there like that, because I want it to look like one full piece, and then you're surprised by the opening. Okay, I hope that made sense. So let's grab some snail adhesive. Oh, that's Stampin' Seal. We haven't had snail in years. Okay, now what I found, I'll share my tip with you. I found it was easier to do this with it opened. Like that. And then the next one I will do with it closed, because I want to make sure I line it up exactly even top and bottom where that one is. So I'm just adding Stampin' Seal to my other 2 by 5 1/4 piece. Like that. Now we need to, excuse me, we need to pull in our paper trimmer, and we're going to cut this piece. It's had a chance to dry a little bit. We want to cut that right in the middle so that it will fit on there just like this. Okay, let me grab my trimmer. And this piece that we embossed is 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So half of 3 3/4 is 1 7/8. I have my trimmer upside down. Some people use it that way. I just don't think that I can. So I have to do it this way. So I'm going to go to 1 7/8. And I'm going to cut this. That's my scoring blade. I'm going to cut this right in half, just like that. Oh, my blade appears to be, maybe it's because that was embossed. But it cut it kind of. Might need to change my blade. And then we're just going to adhere these just like this on here. And I'm going to do what I did on the other one, and I'm going to open this up to put this one on, and then I'll match the other one up with it. I'm going to use liquid glue for this rather than my Stampin' Seal, because it is embossed. And I know this will hold it down good. Okay, now I have to figure out, okay, it was this way. I want my flowers to match up. Plus with the liquid glue, I can play with it, whoops, and make sure I get it exactly where I want it. before I press it down. Now we're just going to do the same thing to the other side and match our flower up exactly. You might notice I have a new tool to apply my glue. Excuse me. I still use multi-purpose liquid glue in my tool, but the benefit of having this tool is just that it helps my arthritic thumbs to not have to squeeze a bottle, because it's, you know, like this trigger thing that you're pulling with your hand, and that's very helpful for me when I do a lot of stamping. And so it comes with a refillable bottle. Well, one of the bottles is empty when you get it, and so I just put my multi-purpose liquid glue inside the bottle. There we go. Is that level? Yes, that's good. Isn't that pretty? It's such a pretty card. It's so pretty. Okay, now we need our belly band. So I gave my stampers a piece of basic white cardstock. It is 1 inch by 11 inches, which is way too big, but I wanted them to have room to play with. So what you want to do with your belly band is just start it in the front and, you know, have it about in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to wrap it around to the back. Now, the thing about it is you don't want to wrap too tightly, because if I was heavy-handed with this, my belly band would be hard to get off. And it's sort of a fine line, you know. You want to be tight enough to where it stays in place, but you don't want it to be too tight where you can't take it off. So just wrap it sort of loosely, and then we're going to cut this down because I don't need this nearly this big. So I'm just going to grab my snips and trim that off, and then I'm going to put some adhesive at the end of this, and we're going to glue this belly band on, but kind of loose. Okay, like that. So that way it still holds the card closed, but I can pull it off easily. Now we want to decorate our belly band. And to do that, I have to find all the pieces. That I pulled out for my card. I have lost them. I must have stuck them all back in here. I have lost my mind in my card pieces. Okay, we're gonna pull from a different card because I don't see them. Gosh, that's silly. Okay. I've placed them somewhere, and, you know, I can't find where I placed them, of course. So we have this pretty paper. Now this is part of a new paper pack. Hang on, I'll have to look up the name of it. It is called Bloom Boutique, okay? And it's lovely floral prints. They're beautiful. And there's an heirloom boutique sticker sheet that goes with it that matches it. Oh, I can't show you that because of the angle of my camera. But anyway, this is the sticker sheet. And the paper is like this. All of these little pieces are what you get the 12 by 12 paper in. Of course, it's double-sided, just like it shows you there. So this little blue flower, that's what we're working with right now. And on the back, it's that pretty, these are in colors, so that's the Peaceful Pine in color. But we're using these pretty little blue flowers, and it's foiled. Can you see the gold on there? I don't know that you can, but the little dots all over that are gold foil. So very pretty paper, very delicate and dainty. It's just beautiful. Okay, so we're just gluing that right across the front of our belly band. Like that. So pretty. Now we have a new stamp set that we're going to play with. And it's actually got a punch that goes with it, coordinates. It's called Exciting Times. And this rectangular punch is the one that goes with the Exciting Times stamp set. And it has some frames that you can use, and then several sentiments. We're using Happy Birthday to You. And we're also using one of the frames. So I have this scrap piece of white, and I'm going to stamp this sort of starburst looking frame on there first. I did not tell you all the wonderful highlights of the new stamp pad cases. For one thing, they're magnetic. Okay, it's a heavier duty, that's the word. It's a heavier duty stamp case because it's metal and it's magnetic, and it's not all metal, so it's not real heavy, but they do close magnetically, so it seals really well. It also sticks to the side like that, so when you're working, you know, it's not going to get separated, or you can stack it on top like that. The other thing about them being magnetic is that they stick to one another, so if you're storing them, you know, on your station, they're not going to be falling off, and you know, they're just going to stay right there together, so that's nice too. And one of the main things is the stamp pad is now felt instead of the firm foam. We had felt previously. Stampin' Up did years ago, and they went to firm foam. There are benefits to both, but I really like the felt because I think the ink lasts so much longer. You don't have to re-ink it nearly as long. And the I keep calling it felt, and I'm not sure that's right. It might be linen. Anyway, I think it's a linen. Anyway, it's more of a fabric than a foam. And I think it's more durable. Oh, there's our frame in that beautiful hydrangea hue. It's so pretty. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment in the same color. I'm not sure I can get this in the middle the way that my, oh yeah, maybe I can. My setup today is not very good as far as the angle of my camera, and my workspace is kind of far from me. Need to fix that. Okay, let me clean these stamps real fast. Only I couldn't find my chamois. It's just that kind of day for me today, I guess. Okay, now we're going to use our wonderful rectangular punch to punch that out. Isn't that cute? I'm loving it. And then we want to adhere this to the front of our card, but we want to make sure that we only put, we're going to use dimensionals to adhere it, but we only want those in the center of our rectangle so that we don't glue it actually to the card base. We only want it adhered to the belly band. I'm so sorry. Let me mute while my dogs bark. Sorry, I think my husband came home. And the dogs think so too. Okay, here we go. Right in the middle. Ta-da. And that's card number 1. Isn't that gorgeous? The bird approves. Thank you, Watson. You know what? We don't have bling on it yet. We get to use our pretty in color dots. They are so gorgeous. And we're using these beautiful hydrangea hue ones. I'm just going to use these 2 small ones because that's what's left here. There we go. Now our card is finished. Isn't that lovely? So the recipient just pulls the belly band off and opens it up, and then of course our greeting is inside, but I haven't done that part yet. I will probably use this for one of our church birthday cards. That's why I didn't do the inside today. Look at those. Aren't those gorgeous? If you could see them in person, you would probably be more impressed than on camera. They are so pretty. Okay, that is card number 1, our birthday gatefold card. Let's move on to our next card. Gonna try and move my stuff out of the way because I have a mess here everywhere just from one card. There's so many fun things to show you today. That stamp goes to... Okay. I think we're ready for our next card now. Okay, now we're going to talk about some other fun paper. This might be my favorite. It's called Velvet Meadow. And this is what it looks like, the paper pack. I'm going to open that up and show you some of those gorgeous papers in there. But these have a velvet texture on them. It is just wonderful. It's wonderful. So this is the one, actually, the print that we're using today. And these little white flowers on here have the velvet texture. There's also this one. Isn't that beautiful? And again, the velvet texture on the little white flowers. This one will make wonderful cards because, of course, it's the top and bottom. So, I mean, that would be fun for scrapbook borders, but I'm going to get these up for cards. Those will be beautiful. And then this has the centers of the pretty pink flowers are all velvet. I'll show you the other sides of this paper in a minute. Then we have this that's a very light background. I think it's probably cloud cover with the peaceful pine. And then the white flowers are velvet or vines. Some of them are leaves. Okay, and then we have this lovely pink that has the little leaf sprigs that are velvet. Isn't that pretty? Now let's look at the back sides of this paper because they're all really pretty, just sort of textured prints. There's that Secret C. These would be really good for Rip It, Flip It, though I don't know that I could rip it. More Secret C. I'm saying Secret C, and I'm meaning cloud cover. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. That would be such a sweet baby card. And there's that one with tiny flowers on it. I think that's the last one. Okay, so I told you cloud cover, but I just want to confirm that that's the color that we were seeing. So if you know Stampin' Up, you know that all of our packaging will tell you what colors come in a paper pack. So in the Velvet Meadow, we have Basic Beige, Berry Burst, that's that really bright pink. Bubble Bath is the light pink. Cloud Cover is the gray. Daffodil Delight and Peaceful Pine is the green. So it's super gorgeous, and this is the paper we're using in our card today. Velvet Meadow. Okay, let me find my, oh my, we're using Berry Burst and one of our in colors. We're using Peaceful Pine and Berry Burst because that was the color in the paper. So here is our card pack. Pull everything out. Now, for this card, I gave them different options for a sentiment. Where is my sample? It is not there. Hang on. I'm going to find the sample for you. That will be easier. Okay, so this was my sample. Whoops, upside down. This was my sample. And you see that lovely velvet paper there in the background. I printed out a Mother's Day sentiment to go on this card in case any of my stampers last night still needed a Mother's Day card. So that's what I used on my sample. But I think we're going to stamp a sentiment today. Let's see which one I want to use. I had 3. Okay, I wish I remembered what stamp set. No, what was the other one? Oh, no. So the other one must have gotten put somewhere else. Okay, let me look in my other card kit and see where I had another sentiment. No, it's not in here either. I'm not sure what happened to it. I had 3 options at class last night to stamp, and now I only see 2. Okay, it's okay. We'll use this. One of my sentiments that I offered to them, because I was looking for things that would fit this 1 1/4 inch circle, was from an old paper pumpkin kit. So that's what I'm going to stamp this morning since I can't find the other sentiment. Goodness. So I'm going to stamp For a Great Friend. Whoops. Let me stamp this as a practice once. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know that this stamp has ever been used. And it needs a little conditioning. All right, so I'm gonna try one more. You know what? Let me stamp off and see what that looks like. I don't know that I want it quite that dark. It's the stamp, it's not the... I think that will work. Actually, it's probably going to dry a little lighter, so I'm just going to use this one. There we go. That's a 1 1/4 inch punch. Peaceful Pine, so pretty. And then I used an old punch that I had that makes this scallop circle that's like 1 3/8, so it's just perfect for that 1 1/4 inch. And we're just going to adhere that onto this flat, and then this gets put on the card. This layer will go on with dimensionals. Okay, so our card base is a standard card base, 5.5 by 8.5, and we're just folding it in half. Our last card was the only fancy fold that we did this time. All the others are just typical folded in half. This is, of course, the new in color Peaceful Pine, and this is a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece that we're going to put on the front of our card. Move that out of the way. And then we're adhering this white piece that measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/8. Okay, but before we put that down, I want to go ahead and put my Velvet Meadow pieces on here. And now this has been turned over a little bit, so I'm going to play with it to see what order. Oh, there we go. That's what order my paper went in. So I'm just starting with one edge, and I'm going to use liquid glue because I want to be able to position this exactly where I want it, because I took a 4 inch by 3 inch piece of this designer series paper, and I cut it into 1 inch strips so that I could adhere it in strips onto this basic white piece. It just makes a nice little broken up detail there. See how pretty that is? It's just really pretty. And it's easy to do, especially when, you know, it was just a 3 inch. So I didn't even have to do any math. I just cut it into 1 inch pieces. Okay, that is so pretty. And then we're just going to adhere that down to our card base with Stampin' Seal because it's flat. Now we're going to get some white baker's twine, and I'm just going to quickly measure about 10 inches here. And then I'm just going to run this through my fingers to try and straighten it some. Okay. And then I'm just going to tie a big bow with this. And then we're going to adhere it to the card and put our sentiment on top of the bow. I want it to be big and loopy. I didn't do that very evenly. Let's try again. Okay, that's going to be better. Big and loopy. Like so. And then I'm just going to adhere that on there and put this on top of it. So we're going to glue that down with a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue, and then we'll be sure and put our adhesive on top of it to help hold it down. So we'll use some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to put several on here just because I want to hold that bow down too. And then I'm going to adhere that right on top of my bow. Oh, so cute. So cute. Now, for the inside, we did a little stamping on the inside too. And I used a stamp set that we used at the virtual album retreat, which it came with the retreat. So you could still buy that retreat. You can't watch it live because that happened last week, but you can still buy it and watch all the recorded videos. We made 10 two-page spreads. It was amazing. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. But we are going to use the stamps, a flower from those stamps from the virtual album retreat, to decorate the inside of our card, because I thought these flowers matched the paper so well. So we're doing this in Berry Burst because that's what those big flowers were on the front. I want to stamp off on my second layer, and I am going to have to get up over this a little bit more to line this up. Okay, so even with my camera in the way, I did pretty good lining that up. And you could put more flowers if you wanted. I just want to bring a hint of that color from the outside to the inside of my card, and then I'll stamp or write my greeting there. So that's card number 2. Isn't that so pretty? That paper. Yeah, velvet meadow. Beautiful. Okay, moving on. Let me clean my stamps, and then we'll go to our last project. I get to introduce you to another beautiful paper pack in our last project that we saw a little bit of it in the first project. It's the same paper, but you get to use more of it in the third project. So this is my sample card. Grab that paper. It's that Bloom Boutique, and sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud in your ear. This is the Bloom Boutique paper, and it has that gold foil on one side of every sheet. It's just pretty. Love those flowers and that hydrangea hue. Aren't those just sweet little floral prints? It's just beautiful. So I made this card using all of those foiled papers on the front to make a little banner to make a birthday card. So let's pull that out and I'll show you how I did it. Now, I used the party banner dies for all of my little pieces. These are they are still active. They were new last year. They came, you can buy them as a bundle with a large alphabet. But see, it makes all of these different sizes. And I've used them all from the biggest to the littlest. But I used that very little one and cut out all of those pieces of designer series paper. And you know, it didn't take a lot of paper because like I think 1.5 inch strip is all I needed to cut my banner from. It's not very wide. So I just watched Star Wars because you know it was Star Wars Day this week and I'm a big Star Wars fan. So I watched Star Wars and cut out all of these banners for my people this week. So they did not have to cut all these layers of banners. So that work was done for them. And this card is pretty easy to put together once all of the dies are cut. It's so sweet. I gave them a baby option too because I really thought that looked like it should go with a baby shower or a fun happy birthday. Either one. Our card base again is 5.5 by 8.5 and we're folding it right in half. And then we have a piece of basic beige that is 5.25 by 4 that we're going to glue onto the front of our card. Oh, but we're not gluing it yet. And this is something I told them not to do. And there I am doing it. Okay, let me fix this. I can fix this quickly, or I can work awkwardly around that. I was careful to tell them